Yay Media Group.
13 has been my lucky number for a while. Like, it's always a sign of good things to come for me.
This is 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast, breaking down every song, every Easter egg, every era, and every theory. Hosted by the biggest Swifties, Nick Adams, Anna Szabo, Amy Nichols, and Lacey G.
Welcome to 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. I'm Nick Adams.
I'm Anna.
Amy.
And I'm Lacey G.
And today we are once again joined by Juliana. Hello.
Hello. Hi, welcome back.
Hi. This is totally a different day from the first time we recorded.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
It's a different day.
I promise. Okay, so today we are breaking down track number 6, But Daddy, I Love Him, written by Taylor Swift and Aaron Dessner. And it is one of 2 songs on the entire Tortured Poets, the entire collection, where it is produced by Taylor, Aaron, and Jack Antonoff.
What's the other one?
The other one is Thank You, Amy.
Oh,
So
really?
if you're,
Interesting.
so I know that there are a lot of people who are like super into all of Aaron Dessner's collabs. Yes. And there's a lot of people who are super into Jack Antonoff's stuff. Me, I love that. So this is a nice little mix of both camps.
I think the next album we get from Taylor, that's not a Taylor's version, that's like a next original album.
Which is coming out when, Lacey?
Maybe Wednesday.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, announced on Wednesday, released on Friday. We'll see.
We'll see.
See previous episode for more on that.
I do think that whenever that happens, whenever we get TS12 like original, we should, without looking at the credits, try to guess if it's an Aaron or a Jack song.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I wanted to do that this time around, but I forgot.
Yeah, it's a good idea. There was just too much going on.
There's a lot happening.
Yeah, so track number 6. So is this going to give us the whiplash that we get from a lot of her
It typically
track
does.
5s to track 6s? Because the track 5s, we all know, are the more deep, more super meaningful, very cathartic songs that she writes. And track 6 a lot of times are like fun and whimsical and all over the place. Like you got All Too Well and then it's 22, right? Isn't that how it goes on Red? So a big whiplash in
And I'm
vibes
pretty
of the
sure
song.
Is Shake It Off right after All You Had to Do Was Stay?
Oh, don't test me.
I'll look it up.
Wow, y'all
I'll look it up.
are bad Swifties.
Is it Nick?
I don't know. I don't know.
It is.
Swifty.
It is.
That's
Okay,
what
It is.
Okay,
It is.
Never should have doubted.
It is.
But yeah, it's definitely fun sounding. But the subject matter, on the other hand.
And call me crazy, but I think of all of the songs on this album, I feel like But Daddy I Loves Him sounds the most country. I feel like it is just a very country-esque song. Just the way she sings it, the way the instrument sounds, the lyrics she's saying. I just feel like it's a very getting back to her roots, kind of Americana country-esque song. I'm not saying it's 100% country.
Right.
I don't think you're going to hear it on a country radio station, but I think if you were to look at all of these songs, I just feel like it's got a little country vibe. It's a little rebellious. It's a little
Okay, the rebel
take.
part.
Yeah, it's a little rebellious.
Sold me, yeah.
It's just a little like she's doing a little storytelling. She's being a little funny.
And it does feel pretty Southern, too.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
feels
does.
Southern from reading the lyrics and everything.
And saying
even
daddy.
just daddy, yes. Saying the word daddy. That's
Horse, Sunday. I don't know.
Yeah, the whole religion aspect of it. Yeah, for
And
sure.
it starts off like with a banjo or something, right? The with But Daddy I Love Him. So I mean, it definitely has that Western feel, and I mean, starts off saying West as well.
Yeah.
And Nick, this was one of your favorites right off the bat.
I love it so much. I still do. It hasn't fallen in my rankings, although I don't remember what my rankings initially were at this point, but I just absolutely
Still
love this
top tier
song.
for you?
Top tier from the moment I heard it. It was shivers. I just absolutely love this song, and it gets better every time I hear it.
Juliana, what are some of your favorites on Tortured Poets?
I love Fortnite.
Yeah?
Yes. And Florida.
Oh, Florida has crept up and up and up. And I think ever since Florence performed
Yeah,
with her on
I
tour,
agree.
Florida has
I
shot
really
up.
didn't like it. And then I listened to it again and I loved it.
And it's just like Florence's voice, the hurricane was my name as a cane.
Got Florence in the studio right now.
I got drunk and washed it away.
Has Florida become more of a grower since we found out that we're going to Miami? Juliana, you're
yes,
going with us to
yes.
Miami, right?
Yes.
so excited.
And that is why I liked it, because it kept, when I was like editing videos, I was like,
Yeah, quick reminder that we are heading to Florida and to Miami. Juliana's going to be there with us. We're so excited. On Saturday, October 19th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Loews Miami Beach Hotel. We're going to be having our party. And you guys, small little tease, we might have a special VIP.
Very special.
Very special VIP.
Cutesy.
Okay, 2 special VIPs.
I was about to say one already challenged to a fashion off.
One that I already told you about. Another one that I got news about this morning.
Is it
Is it
someone
who
that
we
you
think
were
it is?
teasing?
It's not Taylor.
No. But we were in our,
It's not Cam either.
in our group chat. We were chatting about someone.
Yes.
It's that person.
Yes.
Yes.
For real?
I don't
Well,
know.
I'll wait till. Okay, small tease. You guys just have to come to Miami to find out.
Yeah, so we're doing an Eras Tour pre-party at the Loews Miami Beach Hotel. Like Anna said, October 19th from 1 to 3. You can get your tickets at the13podcast.net. And we're having some really cool people show up. That wasn't necessarily on the agenda, but it just keeps growing and growing. We're going to have a lot of giveaways, games. We're going to have a really good time. We've done a lot with Swifty vendors before in the past. So Swifty vendors, if you want to donate something and have us give it away at the pre-party, then you can just hit us up. And of course, you will be heavily thanked for that.
Yes, heavily. Yeah, reach out to us on our new Instagram page at the 13TS podcast or our email, the13podcast@gmail. But yeah.
I am really excited to see which lobster is going to be the first to get a picture with Juliana.
I know.
Because now Juliana's
Our
part of
newest
the
member of
family.
the team.
She's going to be recognized there. I'm hoping we make a big deal out of the first selfie.
I can't wait.
Oh, we will. This is going to be a big deal.
Ooh, how many friendship bracelets are going to say Juliana on?
Oh, that's going to be so cute. I'm going to cry.
That's like an Easter egg of an Easter egg of an Easter egg. I love it.
That's going to be so cute.
New lobster. I love it.
Our new lobster. Our newest lobster. But anyway. But Daddy, I love him.
But Daddy, I love him. Yes, I love the song. Where does everyone else, where does this fall on your rankings initially after listening to it?
I think initially I was leaning more towards like the more sad songs. This one has grown a lot on me, especially after seeing it on the Eras tour, it being performed. For me, I feel like every single time a song is performed, it just changes it for me. And I just, this is like in this song, and we'll get into it, of course, but like Taylor's taking a direct hit at like her fans in this. And I feel like it's one of, if not the like first time we kind of see it in this very direct kind of way. And I am so like, I'm happy to see her stand up for herself in that kind of way. So it's different and it's kind of like a little jarring, but I really, really like it.
She's taking a jab at her fans. She's taking a jab at some institutional things that have been put in place. I mean, she's really speaking volumes a lot against things that she disagrees about on the way that people react, how her fans react, how other people in other positions react and judge, and that at the end of the day, it's none of our business. You can't tell me what to do. I'm a grown woman.
Yeah, and I think in the past, through various albums, we've seen her respond to like the media and the paparazzi and the way that, you know, her name is used and the way she's treated and she's held to these like standards and stuff. But this is the time that we see her kind of also standing up to the people that, the ones that say they want what's best for me.
Right.
You know, and it's kind of, it's a different level, and it's different, but it's I'm really glad that she's doing it, because there are some times where like I see so much like she's held on to such like a high standard. She's put on a high pedestal. Is that how you say it? Pedestal? Yeah. And there's so many times where I'm like, I wish Taylor would just kind of say something. And I feel like this was her way of doing that.
Well, I mean, the same way that she responded after she wrapped up the London shows. After she wrapped up the London shows, you could tell Mother was pissed, saying, let me be clear. The reason that I did not speak out about what happened in Vienna is because you don't want to fuel those people by giving them attention. So, I mean, she sees what people are saying, and people are like, Taylor, speak up, speak up. And that's another time that she said, I'm speaking out now, but let me tell you why I didn't.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell me what to, I'm behaving in everybody's best interest, except for in this instance where she's behaving in her best interest.
And also, guys, this song is just hilarious. It's a funny song. I mean,
is
if someone says Taylor Swift's not funny, I'm going to point to this song because it is hysterical.
It is.
And when this song first came out, and it's just TikTok after Instagram reel of people listening to the song for the first time and giving the like kombucha face response where they're like, huh? What? Huh? What? Oh, relieved, shocked, laughter, hilarious.
And I looked back at, because we did our live listening party, and I watched the footage back of us hearing it for the first time. None of us registered.
I don't think it hit me. I don't think it really registered
what was being
saying.
said. Yeah, like none of us, I think we were just kind of like trying to get, like, understand what she was saying, but we didn't, it did not hit any of us. We had zero reaction.
In the song, I was like, did she just say that?
We're like, what is going on? But like the first one I watched, and all four of us are just like, lights on, no one's home.
Confused vibes.
You know?
Also, I believe we didn't have the lyrics pulled up then. Normally, whenever we do our watching parties, we have the lyric videos.
Oh, yeah, but it took a while for them to show up. You're right.
So we didn't have that in our face. And then for me to process something, it does take a whole ass minute. That's why I believe people cannot scare me. It's not because I'm unscarable. It's because I'm still trying to figure out what just happened. I don't have immediate response to anything.
And it's when we first got the track list and we saw But Daddy, I Love Him, we immediately thought of The Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
Remember? We were like, oh my God, this is going to be a song about her talking about how she gave up her voice for a man, much like, because that would kind of make sense, you know, just given her previous relationship and hiding and like all this stuff. And then it ended up like just not being that at all. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very rebellious song.
But she did mention this in an interview back in 2008, I believe, is whenever she mentioned, a 2008 interview. She was talking about Love Story, and this phrase came up.
I just really like to write songs about boys, and this is a song that I wrote about a boy who I liked, but my parents didn't. I remember screaming something like, "But Daddy, I love him!" and running out and storming into my room and slamming the door.
Do you think this is one of those lyrics that she had written down on the notes app in her phone, just like "Meet Me Behind the Mall"?
It's got to be.
Where "But Daddy, I Love Him," she knew she would work it in
somehow,
to a song, somehow, some way down the road.
Maybe, yeah,
That's what
probably.
I'm going to think of.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is the song Love Story was also about a bad boy who was rumored to have some sort of drug or alcohol addiction to, maybe not even addiction, maybe he just partied some, but parents didn't approve of him. And I can't remember who this guy was, but that's whenever she wrote Love Story. And then a lot of things point to another alcoholic drug binger that this song might be inspired by as well. So it's two of the same concept, but one was with the fairy tale aspect, and then one's fully grown up and entirely pissed off, and for very good reason.
I'm glad that you say that, because when the album first came out, people were saying, "Oh, But Daddy, I Love Him" is like the 2024 version of Love Story, and it took me a while to understand why. I guess I was like, oh, like I don't see it, but maybe it's because I was thinking Romeo and Juliet, and I was like, they're not mentioned in this song. But when you put it in that kind of context, that makes more sense.
Well, Body and Style on TikTok, no clip Nick, said, I'm sorry, I had that written down, no clip, because I knew you were going to go for it. But they pointed out on TikTok just how ridiculous it was for a 34-year-old woman to be seeking the approval of dating from her dad. But then we have to realize she's done it before, because this is Love Story, but much older and wiser. And she was hopeful that at 18, this is Taylor Swift, was hopeful that at 18, one day she'd be able to date whoever she wanted to, and then found herself in a similar predicament at this time. But now it's fans policing her. But that was young, innocent Taylor saying, one day I'm going to be old enough to pick whoever I want, and I can date whoever I want. And then she grows up, and she still has the criticism from people who don't matter. Like, you can't pick her dating life. You don't get to choose for her, but people are still, oh, Taylor, you can't do this.
Yeah.
So she's facing the exact same criticism and realizing I don't have to have your permission. I had to listen to my parents. I don't have to listen to you.
Well, for the four ladies in the room, Has anyone ever dated someone that their friends, family, coworkers didn't like, and you did that make you defensive of that person and say,
Absolutely.
no, I'm going to rebel and do whatever you say I shouldn't do? Or did that make you think, oh, maybe they're right?
Yeah, you have to respect people's choices, and if
Yeah.
I want to date that person, then I'm gonna date them. Yeah, my high school boyfriend, my parents didn't.
They didn't like
Really?
it. And they outwardly said, we don't like this guy?
They would say, no, you can't go out tonight. Just like placing the boundaries where they didn't need to be.
There were signs.
And did you say, but Daddy, I love him?
I did not. Should have. I was a big Little Mermaid fan.
Oh.
I think me and Lacey
Same.
were.
Yeah.
I kind of was curious if you were going to dress up as a Little Mermaid today.
Oh, that would have been great.
I thought about it.
did not think of it. Anna, you should have told me.
I thought about it this morning on my drive-in. I was like, I wonder if Lacey's going to wear like a mermaid tail.
Oh, Anna, it's your fault.
It is my fault.
And I do have a mermaid tail.
Fix it in post. Juliana. Juliana, while you're here.
Dang it. I did not think about that.
Next time. Miami.
Yeah.
Bring it to Miami.
Should we get into what she's saying in the lyrics here?
Yes, because we got a lot.
We got a lot. It is a long
It's
song.
wordy.
I forget how the West was won. I forget if this was ever fun. I just learned these people only raise you to cage you.
So, How the West Was Won, I did not know this, that it's a movie. It's a 1960s movie. I actually knew this because, to pull the curtain back, a few weeks ago with the morning show, we got to chat with Kevin Costner. And Kevin Costner had said that one of his favorite movies, or like a movie that inspired him a lot to be an actor, was How the West Was Won. And I saw that, and then I saw Nick, and I was like, Nick, should we ask Kevin Costner if he likes But Daddy, I Love Him? Because of the reference.
Did Nick discourage you from talking to him?
Nick laughed. You thought it was funny.
Funny joke.
Not
Did it
one.
go over Mr. Costner's head?
Yes.
Probably.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't. Something in me said, hey, that's not a good idea. So I didn't do it. But that's how I learned that How the West Was Won was a classic 1963 film. And maybe that's why you feel kind of like the country western vibe.
I don't know. I just think just in general, this has an essence in some sliver of a country song. The rebellious nature, I guess, of it. But am I stupid? Like, how was the West won? Do we know, like, literally, I know that is a saying, like, how the West was won, I guess,
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Lacey. I think it's colonization.
Right.
I think it's referring to like going and taking the Native
Right.
Americans' land and then locking them on reservation.
That's
And then
how the West
telling
was
them,
won.
yes, and then telling them, this is the way we are taking over. You're now going to do it my way, which had a lot of religious ties to it,
Sure.
which had to do with Catholicism and taking over land and saying, you're now going to do it this
You
way.
heathens, barbaric, just because it wasn't my way.
Right.
Yes.
Well.
So that's how the West was won, which is taking a religious angle, which she hits heavily on in this song. But then also how the West was won could be her transition from the music industry, because she started off as a country girl and then transitioned to all these different genres. And now she's looking back thinking, was it ever fun? Was I was being controlled and told how to do what to do at all times. You have permission to do this. You don't have permission to do this. Same thing with religion as well. With religion, she's looking back thinking, was this ever fun whenever she was raised to be this way? And certain people later would turn on her and judge her for things that she's done.
And I guess that also makes sense to think about if this, under the assumption that the song was written with Maddie Healy as the muse, let's say that whole situation, it's been a while since she's dated. So it could be like, I forget if this was ever fun, like having to go through the public scrutiny of,
Right.
oh my gosh, Taylor Swift is dating again. This is, like she hasn't had to do that in 6 years.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about that in the last episode too, how like, in So Long London, she's kind of dreading like, okay, well, she already knows what's going to come from this. So it could also kind of refer in that kind of sense, like, man, I forget if this like was dating fun? Was it? Was this something that I wanted to do? I don't know.
And I just learned these people only raise you to cage you. Is that something that she's saying to the media and to her fans about, you put someone up on a pedestal just to try to control their image and to control what they're doing and to knock them down a peg?
Yeah, I think so. I think at this point she feels kind of betrayed by the people who claim to love her and support her, whether that be the media or her fans or both. Like you said, raise you, she's put on this just insanely high standard, like impossible to reach, and then she's crucified when she makes mistakes.
And I know that we're kind of fresh into this relationship. It's not too long ago in recent history for us, but for the people listening to this podcast 10 years from now.
Right, yes.
When she started dating Maddie, it kind of was a big deal. It was sort of a quote unquote controversial relationship. She's this prim, proper, has her life together, and Maddie, for lack of a better word, is just a wild guy. He's a party animal. He's hammered on stage. He's fallen over. He's smoking.
He doesn't say the right thing.
He doesn't say the right things. He said some controversial things in the past. So it was just this just two complete opposites dating each other. And it's like, what? And when you go look at Taylor's past history, Maddie's not like a lot of the guys she's dated in the past. She's always kind of dated, for the most part, the prim and proper guys, the guys that have their hair combed, that have their shirts tucked in, that kind of look presentable.
That looks like Nick. She's dated guys that look like Nick.
Sorry, Taylor. I've been taking your entire dating history. I've been taking. I married Taylor.
Just the well put together, good guy.
And Maddie is the quote unquote kind of like grungy rock star. It's just a different, complete different vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. One take says that she's been pinned into a certain stereotype, the good Christian girl and country artist with hometown values. She's not that person anymore, but some of her fan base still thinks that she should be.
Yeah.
So she was raised up, and then they expect her not to be able to change. They want you to stay the same. She's also referred to her fame as being caged before.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember when the news first broke that they were dating, it was so controversial, you could say, that some people even thought that it was a PR move in hopes to kind of change her clean girl reputation. Like, oh, by her dating this bad boy, people will think she's a little bit more edgy. Like at one point, that was one of the narratives, out of many.
So has any one of Taylor Swift's relationships not been dubbed a PR stunt? No. Is that just an accusation every single time?
It's every single time. This has happened time and time again. And when in recent history for us, when this happened with Travis, there was like this PR contract.
The document.
Did you see it?
I just saw that on TikTok.
And it was like this contract that was drawn up and then, oh my God, left on a desk. Because something like that would definitely be left on a desk like that. And it went viral on TikTok and it got picked up by like all the major tabloids. And the thing is, like, as someone who has followed Taylor's life like for a very, very long time, this has happened with almost every single relationship of hers. But now, and it's not funny, but it's like now that she is so insanely famous and her name generates so much clickbait, it went from like something that, people would say to now it's like, wait, now it's like major news. Like they said the same thing about Joe Alwyn, that it was a PR thing. They said the same thing about Maddie, that it was a PR. It's always like this whole denial thing. But again, it feeds into exactly what she's saying of like, why are you doing this to me? Like, why can't you just accept that these are the choices I'm making? Like, why does it have to be fake?
Right.
Just because you don't like it, it's fake.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's back to school time, and it really makes me think of like what's some stuff that I would love to learn. I wish that I knew more languages. I wish that I knew Spanish. How great. Anna, say something in Spanish.
Hola.
How great would that be if I could respond with a word? I know words. I just can't come up with it right now. But kids are always learning and growing, and sometimes as adults we lose that curiosity, but it's never too late. Therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder because your back to school era can come out at any age.
Recently from talking to my therapist, I've kind of learned not only that I need to get out more, but we're living in a time right now, and maybe this back to school era, has to do with it. But we're living in this time right now where people are looking for community and people are looking to connect with others, that people that share similar interests, whether it be book club, run club, learning a new language club, because people just want to try new things. And I think that's a realization that my therapist kind of helped me realize, that sometimes that sense of community makes you feel, I mean, of course, you don't feel as isolated. I feel like we kind of live in a world right now where we're all stuck to our phones and we're scrolling and we're doom scrolling, and it feels very isolating and very low and depressing. But talking to a therapist can, help you come to these realizations that sometimes you need to set your phone down and learn a new language and, set positive boundaries for yourself, positive coping skills, empower yourself to be a better version of yourself. And if you're having a hard time coming to that conclusion yourself, talking to a therapist can help you get there.
Katy Perry said, get off social media, touch grass. And that sounds like something my therapist would say to me whenever life is just overwhelming, that it's good to disconnect. It's good for self-care and to take care of yourself and your mental health.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/TaylorSwiftFan today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TaylorSwiftFan.
Well, and then she starts singing about those people judging her. Sarah's and Hannah's in their Sunday best, clutching their pearls, sighing, what a mess.
Vulgar.
I know, I didn't want to say vulgar there. I did want to say vulgar, Amy.
Yeah, at that moment, I did pick that up during the song. And
yeah, I remember that.
At that moment, I was like, oh, Nick, that's your shout out. That's your shout out.
Taylor listens.
Yeah.
Very vulgar things. But yeah, that totally makes sense with what she's singing here, like what you just brought up, Lacey, about being raised in the church.
Yeah.
Sarah's and Hannah's in their Sunday best, and then, hey, a lot of times people in the church are the harshest people to judge.
Yeah. What do you guys think about her using so much like religious imagery?
I mean, I think it's showing that she's maturing and that she's speaking for herself, that she's not afraid to even tiptoe out a little bit. A lyric here and there, it still is a tough thing. Just personally, it's probably a tough thing. You wrestle with a lot of things, speaking out against what you've maybe still believe or what you've been brought up to. It's also just professionally. It's hard. If you're going to start speaking out about a church, that's a majority of the people in the country, and you start speaking out against something that they hold dear. It's just like talking about politics. It's like you don't really do that because it's going to alienate a lot of people. So it's a brave thing to do, even if it's just a little line here or there.
I do find it interesting because I kind of thought about it in like a different way, but as religion as it used as imagery in the form of like the lyrics, I feel like in a lot of cases people use religion in order to justify why they can judge other people's actions. Like in real life, it's like the way you're living your life doesn't line up with like my values, therefore I can judge. Like I feel like that's just kind of a way that some people are. And so by using it in this context of like Sarah's and Hannah's in their Sunday best, like, oh my gosh, what a mess, because Taylor's actions aren't lining up with the way that they think she should be acting. You know what I mean? Kind of like in a more like, I guess like in a metaphor kind of way.
Also, I think it's kind of smart because since so many people do identify with subscribing to a religion, it's a very easy way to connect with people to a song. Like they know what Sunday best means.
Yeah.
Like they can quickly identify what Taylor's trying to say here. So she's just kind of using language that a lot of people can relate to. So it's kind of a smart thing.
I also found, and I learned this upon this research using the Sarah's and Hannah's. So I found something that said Taylor's likely referencing the biblical figures of Sarah, the wife of Abraham, and Hannah, the wife of Elkanah. I'm sorry, I'm unfamiliar. But both of these women are childless or barren for most of their lives until God blesses them with children late in life. So using these names specifically in these lines implies that these women are clutching their pearls and judging due to a lack of something in their own lives. So I thought that was just an interesting.
That is interesting.
To use those names specifically.
And, well, I mean, we don't need to talk about Bible stuff. Never mind.
No,
well,
are you
I was
gonna
just thinking, well,
sing
like,
a
I think
song?
Sarah, I could be wrong. I think Sarah, like, gave her handmaiden to her husband. So she's like, if Sarah doesn't even recognize the stuff that she's doing in her own life,
but judging.
but still judging. Anyways, Bible news.
Well, and the next line is tied to religion and stuff too. I just learned these people try to save you because they hate you. If you're trying to save someone, it's because you don't agree with what they're doing. Their lifestyle is not correct. And most likely they probably hate you for it. So they're going to save you to bring you over to their side.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what Anna was saying, a lot of what the Sarahs and the Hannahs are possibly judging her for would be that she is a work-oriented boss babe, that some want to say she put her career first. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. She's always wanted to be a famous, successful singer for sure, but did she put her career first, or has it just not happened for her? Who knows? But other people want to look back and say, as a Christian, you're not doing your woman's duty, which is to be fruitful and multiply. Yeah. So you're not doing what they say you should be doing, what it says in the Bible you should be doing. Instead, you're out dating a lot of people and being a global superstar around the world and putting all these things first before a man and a family, which is what the Bible says that you should be doing. Also, a lot of people from the LGBTQ community relate to this and religious trauma because of evangelicals trying to save them and convert them and stuff, saying that being gay is a sin. So there is a lot of religious trauma in this. They're trying to save you because they hate you, because they want you to change, because you're not who they think that you should be.
Yeah.
And then she gets into another part that we've been talking about already, about being on such a high pedestal. Mm-hmm. She says, too high a horse for a simple girl to rise above it. There's nowhere she can go. She's on such a high pedestal. She can't rise above anything.
Right.
There's nothing that she can do.
She's constantly in a lose-lose situation. Like, I even think about it. When was it? I think there was like some award show that she went to. And, you know, she's in the audience. And when Taylor goes to award shows, she has a lot of fun. She has her drinks, she dances, she sings. And people are like, oh my God, she's so annoying. It's so fake. She's not like, she just wants the camera on her. If she was sitting there quietly minding her own business, God, she's such a bitch. She's not paying attention to anybody there. It's like no matter what she does, she's in a lose-lose. Like I even thought about it when football season came back and the Chiefs played and people were wondering, is Taylor going to be at the game or not? And I was like, I can already see it. If she goes, you know, some people are going to like love that, of course. But if she goes, oh my God, once again, Taylor Swift is there because she just wants to be seen by everybody. If she doesn't go, oh my God, her and Travis are probably breaking up. They're in trouble. You know, it's like no matter what she does, you can already see what that judgmental headlines are going to be. Like truly too high a horse for a simple girl to rise above it. No matter what she does, when she takes a single breath, there is a think piece about it somewhere on the internet. And it's like, this is exhausting.
Yeah, they always have something to say.
Always.
And she's only human, and they still try to tear her down and constantly complain. And you forget that there is a human behind all of that you're sitting there trashing on. And we're not supposed to take things people say to heart, but sometimes you can't help but do it. Whenever everybody's just pooping on you left and right, then it's just like, I can't do anything. I can't do anything. Absolutely right. And I would like to clarify, I said gay is a sin. I meant I was quoting what being gay is seen as in the Bible. I do not think that being gay is a sin. I didn't clarify that, but just to clarify earlier what I said, I was just speaking in religious terms, not in my own moral high horse does not believe in that. Just okay.
Yeah.
They slammed the door on my whole world, the one thing I wanted. So is here she's talking about the one thing she wanted, this relationship she's in?
I think so.
Yeah. The relationship, she's always talked about wanting to be in love, about changing the prophecy. She would give up her whole career just to find the one. But also, it's debatable. She's talking about so many things, but also the one thing she's always wanted is to be a successful musician, and she got that. So now people are slamming the door on her and her career because of a decision that she made, for saying, you can't do this, Taylor. How could you do this? And this isn't the only time people have tried to take her career away from her, a la Kim Kardashian and Kanye West in the Reputation era. Mm-hmm. But then this was very similar to the same thing, with a lot of people wanting Taylor Swift to be canceled once she started dating Maddie Healy. It wasn't as big or didn't get all of the backlash to where Twitter was against her and she's, has all the hashtags and stuff, but still, that's what that people were against her and trying to slam the door on her whole world,
And
whether it's her love life or her famous life.
And it was always so baffling to me because when they started dating, everybody was so mad at her for his actions. You know what I mean? Nobody tried to cancel him for all the stuff that he said and all the stuff that they didn't agree with. They were mad at her for being associated with him. And it's like so frustrating because then they break up. And when's the last time you heard about Maddie Healy? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it just proves her point that she is in this fishbowl. And if you're associated with her, you're going to get kind of scrutinized like that. But at the end of the day, people are just wanting to judge her and like they want to bring her down for whatever it be because of the actions of other people. And it's like exhausting. I already said that, but.
And then she gets to the chorus, which I think sounds country.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too.
Just saying.
You're justified.
Now I'm running with my dress unbuttoned, screaming, "But Daddy, I love him." And this is the hilarious part. I'm having his baby. No, I'm not. But you should see your faces. I love that line. It's so good.
So to backtrack to the first line, the running with my dress unbuttoned, when this song first came out, Nick, I remember you coming in and being like, what does that mean?
I don't know what it means, but I think it was Amy who explained it really well.
Yeah, I was saying it was careless, you know. And then when she said later on in the song, I was like,
spoiler.
Yeah.
When she switches her perspective and outlook on things.
From careless to carefree.
Right.
Which can tell you what kind of, it's an image, you know, like running out from behind the bushes, exposed.
Disheveled.
Versus being on the beach with your
frolicking.
The wind in your hair. Thank you. You're using better words than me. But
I'm helping you.
Thanks.
Yes, careless versus carefree. I love that.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't give you those words.
So, but Daddy, I love him. As we said earlier, reference to The Little Mermaid, in which Ariel screams this phrase to her father, the Sea King. This is where the mermaid falls in love with a human and father doesn't approve. But here, Taylor isn't screaming at her actual father. She's letting the fans know what's really in her heart. We are her metaphorical daddy in this instance who disapproves of the relationship. As far as the good girl, she's found in bed with a bad boy and not like fully dressed running after her father who's going to beat up her boyfriend is one perspective. I'm having his baby. No, I'm not, but you should see your faces is just another take on the fact that she's a fallen woman with a scarlet letter A because she's not doing things in order that people think. She's not married. She is sleeping with someone now, pregnant out of wedlock. In this metaphorical instance. But there is this TikTok that I shared with y'all way back, made my jaw drop from the beginning. This is Deborah Rain, Rayne. Her TikTok name is D_Rain Day, Rayne Day, who discusses what this line is really about and why punctuation is fun.
Here we are. We find ourselves at the chorus of the song, which of course contains the title of the song, and the most hotly discussed two lines together, the "I'm having his baby, no I'm not." Now, here's what everyone is misconstruing and getting wrong about this song. They are applying this phrase, "no I'm not," just to this line, "I'm having his baby." But the answer is in the punctuation. So it's the placements of these quotes. She has the entire quoted line as, "But Daddy, I love him. I'm having his baby." End quote. This is one phrase that she's theoretically screaming, except in the next line, she tells you, "No, I'm not." And it's not, "No, I'm not having his baby." The "no, I'm not" refers to this entire preposterous scenario. Taylor Swift is a 34-year-old mature adult woman. She is no longer doing any of this. Running with my dress unbuttoned, screaming, "But Daddy, I love him. I'm having his baby." No, I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Now, that was on the Apple lyrics that she had, that everything was in quotations. And then I saw people giving her crap like, who listens to Apple Music? And she said, literally Taylor released stuff on Apple Music. Like,
Is the quotes different on other platforms?
looking at the lyrics, they're different.
Wait, should I?
The lyrics
Do I need to grab
online,
the sacred texts?
Yes.
I think we have the vinyl. Let me go grab.
Oh, no.
We do have the sacred text of the Tortured Poets Department on vinyl. It's unopened because we're going to give it away in Miami.
Okay, so yeah, we don't need to.
So
We don't need to open it up.
yeah.
Okay.
All good.
but at least on Apple Podcasts, that is what it had, all in quotations, which just makes it so different because she is saying, I'm not, y'all. You think that I'm doing this and I'm not. Why would I be asking for someone's permission like that?
But every 34-year-old woman has been 16, so we can all picture this and relate. Like, that's how she feels inside. So anybody can relate to this.
And I'm telling him to floor it through the fences. This I picture like, hey, they just got caught hanging out when they shouldn't have been, and it's like, run. Whether he's driving, because floor it means to like go fast.
Yeah.
Whether you're driving or just running on foot. In a pasture, again, country song. Running in a pasture towards a fence to get off the property. I'm telling him to floor it through the fences.
And the getaway car. They're two lovers running away from their disapproving families like Romeo and Juliet.
And no, I'm not coming to my senses. I just love how straightforward that is. Like she's gonna do what she wants, regardless of what everyone thinks, basically.
I know he's crazy, but he's the one I want.
Before we move on to the next verse, I did find something about the I'm having his baby. Someone connected it back to a song by Madonna. Did you guys see this?
No.
So Madonna, any Madonna fans in the room? Like, I mean, I have nothing against Madonna. I'm just not well versed in her discography. So this was new to me.
I know a few songs.
Okay, so this was new to me. But Madonna has a song called Papa Don't Preach.
Yes.
I'm in trouble deep.
So in that song, it was controversial, hated by many, it says, including feminists, and loved by others. It was inspired by gossiping teenagers. And depending on how one views the song, it could be said to tell a story of a girl passing from the control of her father to the control of her boyfriend, her pregnancy being her life change. And so if you look at the lyrics of that song, she says, Papa, I know you're going to be upset because I was always your little girl, but you should know by now I'm not a baby. You always taught me right from wrong. I need your help, Daddy. Please be strong. I may be young at heart, but I know what I'm saying. And then she goes on to say later, Papa don't preach, I'm in trouble deep. Papa don't preach, I'm losing sleep. But I made up my mind, I'm keeping my baby. And so there was just kind of that connection of just like that, I guess just that the big news of like, I'm having this baby and I'm keeping it. Or like, I'm having this baby. No, I'm not, but you should see your faces. You know, just kind of that same idea.
Yeah.
And I'm not familiar with Madonna either, but my friend that I was traveling to London with told me that they do have a lot in common, that Madonna was kind of the trailblazer before Taylor Swift, just in a lot of the things that she did and a lot of things that
industry?
She stood up for. Yes. So I thought that was interesting. She told me to read, I guess, Madonna's autobiography or something. And then we were out at a random pub and I saw a poster of some beautiful woman I didn't recognize and looked very Marilyn Monroe-esque. And she was like, actually, that's Madonna. That was like a naked Madonna out on the road doing something. But she was just that kind of girl who didn't give a F. She was doing whatever she wanted to do and calling all of her own shots at the time. So I think they have a lot in common.
That's cool.
Taylor goes on to sing, dutiful daughter, all my plans were laid, tendrils tucked into a woven braid. What are tendrils? Anybody? Tendrils? Is it hair? Like the little flyaways?
Yeah, so it's like a very like neat braid.
Okay.
Haha, no mermaid outfit, but I'm wearing a braid.
Yeah,
It looks very cute, by the way. Meant to tell you earlier.
Thank you.
Were you going to say something, Juliana?
Yeah, I also take that as like, you know, you are like, your hair's messed up and someone just like makes it perfect for you and makes you clean again. That's how I took it.
That's that's great. Like, oh, here, let me just
fix that
fix
for
you.
you.
Yeah.
She's saying she was the good girl.
Yeah.
She was the good girl. She was the perfect daughter. She was plans were laid. Her life was laid out for her. She did as she was told, not just by her family, but by her publicist, by her team who told her what she had to do. She did everything picture perfect, and that's including her hair. There was nothing out of line with her, out of place with her, not even her hair.
She continues by saying, growing up precocious sometimes means not growing up at all. I had to Google precocious. Anybody know what that means?
I only learned it because of the Tortured Poets Department.
Okay, tell me what it means.
To be precocious means for someone, typically a child, to exhibit or develop certain abilities or interests at an earlier age than usual. So kind of like when Taylor was young and she was already writing hits and stuff, and like she even references it later in a different song where she says you were wise beyond your years, you know, like you were so ahead of your time, you're a genius, you're writing music, and like, oh my gosh, you're so successful at such a young age. But then by saying growing up precocious sometimes means not growing up at all. Like, okay, so I'm wiser beyond my years, but then at the same time Taylor's also seen as this girl that never grew up, never matured, was always had this clean girl, never had the edgy side, she makes music for kids, you know, is like an argument that people like to make, which makes no sense to me. But, you know, but it is something that, a criticism that she constantly gets.
Well, also she missed out on a normal childhood. Yeah. Because she was famous, she was pursuing, she said that she never was popular in high school because people were going out and she was going to coffee shops and performing. So she didn't have the same experiences as other people. So if you miss out on your childhood, do you later want it? That's when some people go through a wild phase later in life because they didn't get that, or the ones who got married young and missed a lot of the college experience, then later find themselves single and go absolutely wild because it's the first time that they got to. Also, she's described never growing up many times, like in The Archer, I never grow up, it's getting so old. An Anti-Hero, I have this thing where I get older but never wiser. She's just kind of stuck in her ways. She's still immature at heart, or making childish decisions maybe at heart.
And we talked about it in the episode where we talked about the prologue. We kind of talked about how in this album specifically, she does reference it a lot about like growing up with this insane fame and industry, you know, like you'd never last an hour in the asylum where they raised me, and like things like that. So I think it's a theme that we kind of just see throughout the album, really.
And it reminds me of like Disney Channel stars, where when you saw them finally as an adult and like you'd see them kissing a boy or doing something, you're like, oh my gosh, how can you do that? And it's like, well, they're an adult now. And we keep them in that little box of how we always knew them, and so it's like weird to everybody.
Like Miley.
Yes, Miley
Cyrus in her Bangers era.
Yes.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Yes.
Iconic.
And they're still a person. I was talking to someone, to a much older person, which I'm only saying that because shut up. That's the only reason that age is relevant in this instance. But I was talking to a much older person at a pool party this summer, and they were just crapping all over JoJo Siwa and saying, well, she's just trying too hard to be an adult. She's doing this. And I'm like, she's a kid still. She's a very young adult who's figuring it out in the public eye. And you have the audacity to judge her and to say that this is a publicity stunt. Like, you wouldn't judge another 21-year-old like that you knew in person. You would think, oh, they're young. They're figuring it out. You still get grace whenever you're young. You should always have grace anyway, because I'm older and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So don't judge me whenever I do something stupid. But especially when someone's younger and still figuring out so many things, figuring out who they are even. But to sit there and talk about somebody like that, to talk about the Disney stars, it's rough trying to grow up, period. Much less in that public eye where everybody is looking at you and judging you for everything.
In terms of like, you know, celebrities growing up like that, for Nick and Amy as parents, do you, like, if they're looking up to a celebrity or like a Disney Channel star and they have that rebellious phase, like as a parent, are you like, ooh, or?
Luckily, mine haven't gotten to that point yet.
Yours are still little.
Mine are still little.
Mine never looked up to celebrities.
Yeah.
So it was never an issue.
Because I feel like that's a lot of the argument too. It's like, oh, but she's a role model.
She's a bad influence.
She's a bad influence, like that kind of thing. But it's like,
they're doing normal things that we're going to do anyway.
Right. It's like they just happen to have a platform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Taylor has just described herself. She's the dutiful daughter. She is prim and proper. All the plans are laid out. She has the perfect life. And let's hear about who she's interested in right now. He was chaos. He was revelry. Bedroom eyes like a remedy. Soon enough, the elders had convened down at the city hall.
At the city hall.
So now this prim and proper girl is with someone who's a wild child. a wild person. And all the elders, the people who are smarter than her, had to get together and talk about what she's doing in her personal life.
Yeah. Yeah. And the elders in this context, I think, are like her fans.
Yeah.
Like, the ones that are convening down at the city. They're the ones having these meetings. They're the ones having, these discussions.
And the people down at City Hall, they said, stay away from her. The saboteurs protested too much. I don't know what that means. The saboteurs protested too much. Enlighten me. What's a saboteur? Someone who sabotages things?
Yeah. So the Sarahs and Hannahs are trying to break up the relationship, right?
Okay.
They're protesting against their relationship.
They're trying to sabotage it
Yeah.
by ending it and saying you can't do it. That's the protest.
Yeah, they're complaining too much.
And I want to go back just a little bit. The chaos and revelry line. Someone on Reddit, GC Bag, just said something funny, saying, I know, in other words, like, I know maybe he isn't the greatest person in the world, but sometimes you've had enough Kelly and quinoa and you really just want a cheeseburger and a martini. So I thought that was pretty funny. Also, the elders protested too much. An elder is also a leader in a local church who's responsible for overseeing the congregation and teaching. So that could be another line for that, or another religious reference of people gathering to talk about all the wrong that she's doing in her life.
And the stay away from her line, because that's in quotations, when the news broke about her and Maddie, that was a phrase that was actually trending on Twitter.
Oh.
Stay away from her, because people were tweeting so much, like, stay away from her, Maddie, stay away from Taylor. Like, that phrase was trending on Twitter.
Don't ruin our good girl. Stay away from her.
Yeah, exactly. So she used that, like, that actually happened. And so she used that in here.
And the saboteurs protested too much is alluding to a Hamlet line. Someone said the classic line, the lady doth protest too much, methinks.
Yes.
Oh, that's true. Isn't that kind of like Hamlet is kind of saying it's sort of hypocritical, like you're protesting way too much, like the people who are the loudest are probably doing the same thing in their own lives?
Yeah, it's kind of what it is? Yeah, I was reading that it's kind of like at least in current day context, it's like mockery. Like exactly what you said. You're protesting, but you're doing the same thing.
Lord knows the words we never heard. I'm assuming those are the words that were spoken about them behind closed doors. Maybe from the elders.
I think so, because it kind of ties back to the soliloquies we never see. Spoiler alert.
Well, and the social media hate, like it's all this stuff we never heard because we're not listening to you. People are complaining, but you're not complaining to my face, or I'm not listening, or it's just all the chatter online that people are saying.
Lord knows the words we never heard, just screeching tires and true love.
Because they're taking off in their getaway car.
Right.
They're saying, see ya.
And then she gets back into the chorus singing, and now I'm running with my dress unbuttoned, screaming, but Daddy, I love him. I'm having his baby. No, I'm not, but you should see your faces. I'm telling him to floor through the fences. No, I'm not coming to my senses. I know he's crazy, but he's the one I want. She goes on to say, I'll tell you something right now. This is when she's screaming. She's yelling at us. I'll tell you something right now. I'd rather burn my whole life down than listen to one more second of all this griping and moaning. She's angry.
Yeah. And it's so therapeutic to sing in the car. Oh.
To scream it?
Yeah.
You don't sing this
I'll
part.
tell you something right now. Like, oh man, it's a performance.
Yeah, and then she's standing up for herself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of power in that.
Definitely. I mean, I think in general, she's just had it with the criticism from everyone in the world in regards to her life and her choices. But now I think she's also had it with the people who claim to love her and support her.
Everyone's misguided and unsolicited opinions. Everybody just has to weigh in on what she can and can't do. I saw someone on Reddit say about this whole verse, damn, is this play about us? Literally feels like being scolded by a teacher, but is also my favorite lyric on the whole album.
That's true. And a teacher says, I'll tell you something right now.
Yeah.
You know you're in trouble. And
Yeah. I was going to say, like Lacey pointed out earlier, it has the same tone as "Let me be clear."
Yes,
from her Instagram post. Yeah, "Let me be clear."
I just love this next line. I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something about my good name. It's mine alone to disgrace. I love that. This is my life. This is my name that I've built. Let me do with it what I wish, okay?
Because people are literally telling her, you're Taylor Swift. You can't do that. You're going to ruin your whole career. You're going to let this guy that you want to be with ruin your entire career because he's done things wrong with his life, and that's going to ruin your whole career. And she's saying, nope, it's my good name to ruin. Don't tell me I'm going to ruin Taylor Swift, the brand. I am Taylor Swift. I can ruin my own good name.
Yeah.
It's mine alone to disgrace.
And I don't cater to all these vipers dressed in empaths clothing. These people who say that they want what's best for you, that they care so much about you. To then for them to just try and tear you apart.
Yeah.
Ugh. God save the most judgmental creeps who say they want the best for me.
Do you guys do like the Eras Tour choreography? God save the most judgmental creeps. No? No one else? Okay.
That was really good.
Sanctimoniously performing soliloquies I'll never see.
Rolls right off the tongue.
It does. Boy.
It's a mouthful.
But once you get it down, man, is it satisfying.
Soliloquy, that's a Shakespeare thing, right? A soliloquy?
Yeah. An act of speaking one's thoughts aloud when by oneself.
What's sanctimonious? What's sanctimonious? Like sacrilegious almost?
In a way that suggests someone is morally superior to others.
Basically like what we've been saying this whole time. Like people online or like on TikTok, you see all these videos or like, you know, of people being like, well, Taylor's doing this wrong because X, Y, Z. And it's like, well, that's what you think, maybe necessarily. It's not right or wrong. But then she said, you know, soliloquies I'll never see. Like people think that, oh, Taylor's such a big superstar. She'll never see this video that I post about her. No, she is. She does see it, you know? And I think it was almost kind of, do you guys remember? And I'm aware that I spend a lot of time online, but when she started dating Maddie and this all happened and everybody had something to say about it, there was this thing that went viral. It was a quote unquote open letter from Swifties, and it was called like Speak Up Now or something. And it was this like letter that Swifties wrote to Taylor being like, we don't like the guy you're dating and it's hurting us, basically. And then other fans were like, y'all can't do this. Like, you can't. As fans especially, like you can't write this like open letter to Taylor being like, we don't like the guy you're dating. Like, no. And so I kind of take that to be a sacrament, like a soliloquy I'll never see. Yeah. You know, they probably post that online thinking, oh, she'll never actually see this, but she did.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, I forgot about that till you mentioned it, Anna, that it's people being on their morally superior soapboxes telling Taylor what she can and can't do while they're living in sin themselves, quote unquote, doing whatever they want to do with their bad boys, but they're just not up on the pedestal.
And then she goes on to say, the things that you're saying about me, your soliloquies I'll never see, thinking it can change the beat of my heart when he touches me. Say whatever you want. It's not going to change how I feel. And counteract the chemistry and undo the destiny.
It does not matter what you say.
It's going to happen.
Doesn't matter.
Her chemistry
You ain't got to
is real.
pray for me.
Her destiny, like her invisible strings that led her straight into this arms. And yeah, you don't have to pray for me. Everybody wants to say, thoughts and prayers. Oh, I'll pray for them to do better and to change their mind. But she's saying straight up, you don't have to pray for me. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I don't need your prayers. You don't have to pray for me.
Your words are wasted. Yeah.
Me and my wild boy and all of this wild joy.
If all you want is gray for me, gray. Maybe I never picked up until reading the lyrics. That's what she says there.
I didn't either.
Did you think it
If
was
all
great?
you want is gray, yeah, maybe great. If all you want is gray for me, so like boring,
I thought it
dull,
was, like,
muted,
not have fun, no joy.
right, not vibrant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's just a perfect combo with, then it's just white noise.
It's just white noise, and it's just my choice.
Well, also gray calls back to you're losing me when her face was gray, but you wouldn't admit that we're sick. And then in So Long London, she's just getting the color back into her face.
Fans wanted him to stay with Joe.
Oh, even though she was unhappy.
But
Ouch.
gray, I mean, I think gray and the white noise does go perfectly well together. That it was a bland, unhappy relationship. You want me to just go on with my life because that's what you expect from me.
Yeah,
and,
great. Wow, great connection.
Yeah.
And not to make anything else. I also didn't know it was gray until doing my research this morning. I thought it was just pray. If all you want is pray for me.
There's a lot of people in town that I bestow upon my fakest smiles.
So Shakespearean.
Scandal does funny things to pride, but brings lovers closer. Yeah, they're hating on us. It's just going to bring them closer. It's doing the opposite of what you're hoping it'll do.
Completely backfired.
It's like trauma bonding.
Yeah, exactly.
We came back when the heat died down, went to my parents, and they came around. Okay, so positive news for her. Parents came around. They're starting to approve, right? All the wine moms are still holding out, but it's over. All the wine moms.
So funny.
Not even. She says, but fuck them. It's over.
Yeah, Nick has.
Oh, am I reading the clean version?
You have the clean version.
I just clicked the first link.
I picked up on it when you said griping instead of bitching.
I didn't even think about that.
Griping? Since when?
Well,
could have sworn it was bitching.
Let me switch. Sorry, I don't like vulgar things, guys.
And wine moms is just another way to say judgmental creeps and vipers, all these people who are not in her life, but still want to judge and tell her what she can and can't do. But now the battle's over. Fuck them. It's over. You don't have anything to say because I guess essentially we assume he chose it was over based on some of the lyrics from other songs. But I mean, regardless, it's over now.
I kind of wonder, like, you know, for whatever the truth is of why they didn't work out, like, I'm sure this had some sort of toll on it, right? Like, but then it just proves her point that she is living in this fishbowl. They start dating. There's all this controversy, all this noise. And even if she's like, let's drown it out, he's like, I can't handle this. Like, I can't do this. Like, sorry. You know, like, that goes, there are certain other lyrics in the album that would kind of like tie back to that, to being like, sorry, I thought I could do this with you, but I just can't.
She chose him, but he did not choose her.
Yeah. I'll never leave. Never mind.
That is the most heartbreaking lyric, I think. That is the most heartbreaking lyric. Yes. And it took me a while. That's LOML.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to pick up on it. But I'll never leave, never mind.
And they're both in quotes.
And it's back to back like that. That's just how rash of a decision it was. I'll never leave, never mind.
I've been listening.
Same breath.
I've been listening to that one a lot lately. It's been in my heavy rotation.
Yeah.
But I also feel like at this point in the song, it kind of, I mean, it changes. Yes, like it changes the story to become like more current. You could say,
yes.
Right?
I think so. I think it changes muses. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, and I think right now is when in the song she's changing from careless to carefree. Because she sings the chorus, but it's slightly tweaked, saying, now I'm dancing in my dress in the sun, and even my daddy just loves him. I'm his lady, and oh my God, you should see your faces.
So that does make me think that it's more so about Travis.
A different person.
Yeah, a different person. Maybe Travis, just because he has publicly called her his lady before. I don't know if that was like before or after this was written, but in my head, when I visualize the storyline, I kind of feel like in this verse, it's more current day.
But then even though Travis is more accepted as we think that he is, people still scrutinize their relationship from her being with the football guy to her being at the football games. I mean, people are still weighing in. I even saw somebody say, well, her dad had to accept him because he's some other team fan who's like rivals with Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know who it is, but his dad's, is it New York Jets?
Eagles. I mean,
he was an Eagles fan.
Okay, something. Yeah. So, I mean, everybody still scrutinizes, but now she's happy. Now this one is different. Now she's his lady. She's all buttoned up and running out in the sun. She's no longer unbuttoned, and that's representing the end of the turmoil. She's all back to being fully herself again and all put back together.
And her next line is just a nice little life lesson for all of us. Time. Doesn't it give some perspective?
For sure.
And this could allude back to Invisible String once again. Time, curious time, cutting me open and healing me fine. Time does heal all wounds. And her fans should think about that.
Clock. It's a clock.
It's a clock.
It's a clock. And no, you can't come to the wedding.
I love that.
I know it's crazy, but he's the one I want.
So we got a pregnancy announcement and a wedding announcement all in one song.
I love it because I feel like it's just a way for her to say, like, look, regardless of how much you approve or disapprove of him, like, I'm not gonna forget the way that you treated me in the past, and I'm not gonna let you ruin this the way that you ruined the last one. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like just by saying that, like, no, you can't come to the wedding. It's like, you can love him, hate him, but you don't have access to my life like that.
Mm-hmm. I also saw someone point out that in Love Story, it starts out with this, no, you can't date him, and in the end, he still gets on the knee and ask her to marry him. And now in the same aspect, she's putting the same spin where it has a happy ending because she loves that fairy tale ending, but by her writing it says she doesn't believe that it's going to happen, but she wants it to be on record in this point in time because she likes to put the fairy tale ending on all of it. So at least in this song, it has happened. I don't know, who knows what's going to happen with them, but then that was a sad take to look at it because she's always had insecurities in every relationship, including this one. But who knows how it is going to end for them. But that was a sad take.
And she kind of wraps up the rest of the song by kind of repeating some of the things that she's been saying throughout the lyrics. I'll tell you something right now. You ain't got to pray for me. Me and my wild boy and all this wild joy. He was chaos. He was revelry. If all you want is gray for me, then it's just white noise, and it's my choice. Mm-hmm. And she does a lot of the chorus and post-chorus and things like that.
And now she says he was chaos. He was revelry instead of he is chaos and is revelry.
Good point. Good point. And then when the song ends, in my head, I immediately start going, I feel so high school. I like hear it in my head because that's how it goes on the Eras tour. Yeah. She like ends it with her clapping the, oh my God, you should see your face. And they move over to the bleachers. It's just, that's the way I hear it. Tuned in too many times via live stream.
Well, it's a great country song. I love it. It's a great song. It's still...
Heard it here first. Debuts next.
Yes, it still is so high on my list. I just love everything about this song. It's great.
It is great.
Mm-hmm.
Any other final thoughts before we go?
And join us in Miami on October 19th. We are going to be having a Eras Tour pre-party at the Loews Miami Beach Hotel. We're going to be there October 19th from 1 to 3 with some fellow Swiftie celebrities that are going to be there as well. We're going to have some fun giveaways, some contests. We always have a great time. Show up in your best Eras Tour outfits. And let us know what your plans are for the weekend. We don't have Eras Tour tickets as of yet, so we might be just hanging out and having a good time after. So let us know if we can crash your plans or if you have extra tickets.
If you have extra tickets, we're available. Also, bring friendship bracelets for Juliana.
Yes. And those tickets are available at the13podcast.net. Tickets are only $13. The13podcasttickets.net. Thanks, Loews Miami Beach Hotel.
You got anything else, Lacey?
What other plugs we got?
You did great. Thank you for doing all
that.
That
was great. You nailed it.
You did. Good. And so next time, join us because the next song we're breaking down is Fresh Out the Slammer.
Fresh Out the Slammer.
Thanks for listening. The 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. Subscribe for free and leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts.